Daf Yomi, Tractate Shevuos, page 21a. Now today is May 21st, and today's Daf in the Daf Yomi calendar is Shevuos 20, or Shevuot 20. I like to try to read the next day's Daf, the Daf of the day before the daily Daf. So I'm reading Shevuot 21 now, and today is May 21st. It matches up that way right now. And as you notice, the background is different. And while I was recording the other Daf Yomis, I noticed that there's an echo in the background. It might have affected the sound quality for some, but and I wanted to change it, but I always like to keep the same thing for a while. So for now, since there are a lot of changes happening today, I figured maybe this will just be one of them as well. And until the next change will happen. And I think the sound quality might be better for now. Top of the page with the words Kamash Milan Kiddushani Le. It teaches us as Abaye answers him below. V'i Baye Seima Kishem Shmevi Korban Shel Sheker. Korban al Sheker Kach Mevi Korban al Shav. Rabbi Kiva hi D'Mechayev L'Shavar Kil Haba. The Gemara offers an alternative resolution for the difficulty posed by the Braita. And if you wish, say that the assertion of the Braita that the prohibitions against taking an oath in vain and taking a false oath are one means. Just as one brings an offering for taking a false oath, so one brings an offering for taking an oath in vain. And this is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who deems one liable to bring an offering for taking an oath in vain that refers to the past, just as for taking a false oath that refers to the future. Meisvei. The Gemara raises an objection by asking a question. Izo hi Shevuos nishbar l'shanas es hayidua l'adam Shevuos sheker nishbar lehachli ema nishbar u'machliv. The Gemara raises an objection to Rabbi Yochanan's distinction between a false oath and an oath taken in vain from a Braita. Which oath is an oath taken in vain? It is when one takes an oath to deny that which is known to people to be true. And a false oath is when one takes an oath. Okay, what's the difference? Which oath is an oath taken in vain? It is when one oath takes an oath to deny that which is known to people to be true. And a false oath is when one takes an oath that contradicts the past. The Gemara answers say, amend the Braita to say that a false oath is when one takes an oath and subsequently contradicts it by acting otherwise. It's a false oath. Ki asarabin. Ki asarabin amar Rabbi Yirmiyah amar Rabbi Abahu amar Rabbi Yochanan achalti v'lo achalti sheker ve'azarte midlo tishavu b'shmi l'shakir ochel v'lo ochel over v'lo yachal divaro ve'izo hi Shevuot shav nishba l'shanot et hayadua le'adam. When Ravin came from Eretz Yisrael to Babylonia, he reported that Rabbi Yirmiyah says, that Rabbi Abahu says, that Rabbi Yochanan says, if one takes an oath saying, I ate or I did not eat, it is a false oath, and if or I did not eat, is a false oath if it is not true. And its prohibition in the Torah is from, and you shall not take an oath by my name falsely, so that you profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Leviticus 19:12. If one takes an oath saying, I will eat, or I will not eat, and breaks his oath, he violates the prohibition. When a man vows a vow to the Lord, or takes an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. Numbers 30, verse 3. And which oath is an oath taken in vain? It is when one takes an oath to deny that which is known to people to be true. Amar Rav Papa, Ha de Rabbi Avahu, La beferish itmar, Ela michlala itmar. Amar Rav Idi Baravin, Amar Rav Amram, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Omer, Mishum Rabbi Yosef Lili, Kol lo ta'aseh shebetoira, lav sheyesh bo ma'aseh, lo ken alav, v'she'ein bo ma'aseh, ein lo ken alav, chutz minishba, u'meimar u'mekalel et chavero b'shem. Rav Papa said, this statement of Rabbi Abahu, meaning conveying the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, was not stated explicitly by Rabbi Abahu, rather it was stated by inference. It was inferred from that which Rav Idis Bar Avin says, that Rav Amram says, that Rav Yitzchak says, that Rabbi Yochanan says, that Rabbi Yehuda says, in the name of Rabbi Yossi Aglili, with regard to any prohibition in the Torah, if it is a prohibition that involves an action, one is flogged for violating it. But with regard to a prohibition that does not involve an action, one is not flogged for violating it, except in the cases of one who takes an oath, and one who substitutes a different animal for one that is consecrated to be sacrificed. See Leviticus 27:10, and one who curses another using the divine name. See Leviticus 19:14. Nishba minalan, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Amar Kra lo sisa es shem Adonai Elohecha lashav, ki lo yinakeh. בית דין של מעלה אין מנקין אותו, אבל בית דין של מטה מלקין אותו ומנקין אותו. The Gemara asks, from where do we derive that one who takes an oath that is not true is flogged? Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rishon ben Yochai, the verse states, you shall not take the name of your Lord in God in vain, name of your Lord God in vain, for the Lord will not absolve the guilt, he that takes his name in vain, Exodus 20 verse 7. It is the heavenly court that does not absolve him, but the earthly court flogs him, and in doing so absolves him of guilt. Amar le Rav Papa Labaya Dilma Hachi Kamar Rachmana Lo Yinakeh Klal I Ketiv Lo Yinakeh Ki Ka'amart Hashta Dichtiv Ki Lo Yinakeh Hashem Hu De'eno Menakeh Aval Bedin Shel Mata Malkin Oso Umenaken Oso. Rav Papa said to Abai, perhaps this is what the merciful one is saying. He will not be absolved of guilt at all. Abai answered, if it were written, for he will not be absolved of guilt, it would be as you say. Now that it is written, for the Lord will not absolve of guilt, the verse teaches that it is the Lord who will not absolve one who takes his name in vain, but the earthly court flogs him, and in doing so absolves him of guilt. Ashkechan Shvuot Shav, Shvuot Sheker Minalan, Rabbi Yochanan Didei Amar, Lashav Shtei Pa'amim. Im Eino Inyan L'Shvuot Shav, Teneu Inyan L'Shvuot Sheker. The Gemara asks, we found a source for receiving lashes for an oath taken in vain, despite the fact that no physical action was performed. From where we derive that this is also the halakha with regard to a false oath. Rabbi Yochanan himself said, the verse states in vain twice. if the second mention is not necessary for the matter of an oath taken in vain, since it was already stated, apply it to the matter of a false oath. V'have be Rabbi Abahu, hai Shevuos sheker echidami, ilem Shevuos shelo ochel, v'achal lav sheyesh po maasehu. Ve'ela de'amar Shevuos sheochel v'lo achal, hai milo ke בהאיתמר שבוע שאוכל כיכר זו היום. ועבר היום ולא אכלה, רבי יוחנן וריש לקיש דאמרי תרוויו אינו לוקה. And Rabbi Abahu discusses this with regard to this false oath referred to by Rabbi Yochanan. What are the circumstances under which one who is flogged, under which one who takes it is flogged? If we say it is when he says, on my oath I will not eat, and he then ate, that is a prohibition that involves an action. And if one would rather say that he says, on my oath I will eat, and he does not eat, he is one who breaks his oath like that flogged. But wasn't it stated with regard to one who says, on my oath I will eat this loaf today, and the day passed and he did not eat it? Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish both say he is not flogged. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Eino Loke, Mishum, Tahavi Lav Shim by Maisi, Vichol Lav Shim by Maisi, and Lokelav. But Rish Lakish Amar, Eino Loke, Mishum, Tahavi Hatra'at Zafik, Hatra'at Zafik, Lo Shma, Hatra'a. Rabbi Yochanan says he is not flogged because it is a prohibition that does not involve an action, and concerning any prohibition that does not involve an action, one is not flogged for violating it. And Rish Lakish says he is not flogged because his violation of the prohibition necessarily involves an uncertain forewarning. And an uncertain forewarning is not considered a forewarning at all. Only if one is forewarned immediately prior to violating a prohibition does he receive lashes. Since not fulfilling his oath is a sin of omission, whenever the forewarning is offered, it remains uncertain whether one will fulfill the oath or not. Interesting. תהי באכלתי ולא אכלתי מה ישנה, אמר רבא, בפירוש לבסת תוירה שבועות שקר דומה לשווא. מה שווא? לשעבר, אף שקר נמי לשעבר. In response to his own question, Rabbi Abahu says the case where one who takes a false oath is flogged will be where he takes an oath saying, I ate or I did not eat. The Gemara asks, what is different about oaths relating to the past for which one is liable to receive lashes even though he did not perform an action, and oaths relating to the future that one violates by omission, and for which one is therefore exempt from lashes, according to Rabbi Yochanan, because it is a prohibition that does not involve an action. Rava said the Torah explicitly extended the liability to receive lashes to one who takes a false oath that is familiar to an oath taken in vain. Just as an oath taken in vain refers to the past, so too one is liable for a false oath that refers to the past. This discussion, Rabbi Abahu's, is the source of his inference as to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan mentioned by Rav Papa. Eis Rabbi Yehushua Rabbi Abahu, Shevuos shelo ochel kikar zo, Shevuos shelo ochelena, Shevuos shelo ochelena, ve'achla eno chayav ela achas. Zohi Shevuos bitui, shechayavin al zidona makos yashigasa korban ola yored. Rabbi Yirmiyah raised an objection to the opinion of Rabbi Abahu from a Mishnah in 27b. If one says, on my oath I will not eat this loaf, and then says, on my oath I will not eat it, and then again, on my oath I will not eat it, and he subsequently ate it, he is liable only once. This is the oath on an utterance for which one who violates the prohibition intentionally is liable to receive lashes, and one who violates it unwittingly is liable to bring a sliding scale offering. Zohi lemute mai, lav lemute achalti, ve lo achalti, te lo laki. Rabbi Yirmiyah asks, what, when the Mishnah says, this is the oath on an utterance, is it to exclude what? Is it it is to exclude what? Is it not to exclude the case of one who takes an oath relating to the past, saying I ate or I did not eat, thereby indicating that he is not flogged? Lo, nemuti achalti, velo achalti mikorban zo, he de'al shkagasa korban olav yored, aval achalti velo achalti lo. Rabbi Yishmael he de'amar eno chayav ela al ha'ati lavo, aval milka lake. The Gemara responds, no, it serves to exclude one who takes an oath saying I ate or I did not eat from liability to bring an offering. The Gemara explains, this is the oath on an utterance for which one who violates it unwittingly is liable to bring a sliding scale offering. But if one takes an oath saying I ate or I did not eat, then no, one does not bring an offering. And this is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael, who says one is liable to bring an offering only for breaking oaths relating to the future, but one is not flogged even for false oaths relating to the past. Now we turn to the next Amud, next side, which will be 21b, top of the page with words Ema Seifa. The Gemara asks, say the latter clause of the Mishnah, 29a. Zohi mishvuat shav shechai v'razidon emakos v'ashkos v'batu. Zohi demute my love, demute achalti v'lo achalti d'rulaki. The latter clause of the Mishnah says which oath is an oath taken in vain. It is when one takes an oath to deny that which is known to people to be true, like one says with regard to a stone column that is made of gold. This is an oath taken in vain, for which one is liable to receive lashes if he takes the oath intentionally, and for which he is exempt if he takes it unwittingly. When the Mishnah says this is an oath taken in vain, is to exclude what? What, isn't that phrase added to the Mishnah to exclude one who takes an oath saying I ate or I did not eat, teaching that he is not flogged? Continuing on, Lo, Zohi de'al shkagasa patur mikorban aval achalti v'lo achalti al shkagasa chayav korban v'Rabbi Akiva hi mechayev l'shavar kilehaba. The Gemara responds, no, the Mishnah adds this is an oath to teach that for violating the prohibition against taking an oath in vain, unwittingly, one is exempt from bringing an offering, but one who takes an oath saying, I ate or I did not eat, is liable to bring an offering for an unwitting violation. This is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who deems one liable to bring an offering for oaths referring to the past, just like one is liable for oaths referring to the future. Ha amri tresha Rabbi Yishmael hi Reisha Rabbi Yishmael v'sefer Rabbi Akiva kula Rabbi Akiva reisha lav lemute achalti v'lo achalti mikorban ela lemute ochel v'lo achal mimalkos aval korban mechayav. The Gemara asks, but didn't you say that the first clause of the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael? How can the first clause follow Rabbi Yishmael's opinion and the latter clause follow Rabbi Akiva's conflicting opinion? The Gemara answers, the entire Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, and the first clause does not serve to exclude one who took an oath saying I ate or I did not eat from the liability to bring an offering. Rather, it serves to exclude one who took an oath saying I will eat and who subsequently did not eat from the liability to receive lashes, but he is still liable to bring an offering. Umaishna mistavra kai bilehaba mimaat lehaba kai bilehaba mimaat leshavar. The Gemara asks, and what is different about this way of understanding the Mishnah that it is to be preferred? The Gemara answers, it stands to reason that when the Mishnah is addressing an oath referring to the future, it excludes an oath referring to the future in accordance with the reading that the entire Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Does it make sense that when addressing an oath referring to the future, it excludes an oath referring to the past, as the reading of the first clause is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel would have it? Therefore, the added sentence, "This is an oath on an utterance," in the first clause serves to exclude one who took an oath, saying, "I will eat," and who subsequently did not eat, from the liability to receive lashes, and the whole Mishnah can be understood as being in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva that one is liable to bring an offering even for oaths relating to the past. Shevuos lo ochel v'yachal kol shehu chayav kulei iboy lehu. Rabbi Akiva b'chol ha'toecha kula k'Rabbi Shimon svira le d'mechayav b'ma shehu d'Tanya. Rabbi Shimon omer kol shehu lemakos v'lo omru k'zayis ela le'inyan korban. The Mishnah teaches that if one says, "On my oath I will not eat," and then he ate any amount, even less than an olive bulk, he is liable according to Rabbi Akiva. A dilemma was raised before the sages. Does Rabbi Akiva and the entire Torah, meaning in general, hold that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who deems one liable for eating any amount of forbidden food, as it is taught in Braita? Rabbi Shimon says, one who eats any amount of forbidden food is liable to receive lashes, and the sages stated the measure of an olive bulk only in the matter of determining liability to bring an offering. Uvedinhu debai epilogi be'alma epilogi be'alma veha dikami pligi haha leodiacha kochon rabanan diach legavdi glamemar hoel umifaresh chayav stam nami chayav kamash melan dipatri. And if in fact Rabbi Akiva agrees with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, then by right the Mishnah should have taught that Rabbi Akiva and the rabbis disagree in general, and the reason that it states only here that they disagree is to convey to you the far-reaching nature of the opinion of the rabbis. The rabbis hold that even though it is possible to say that since one who eats less than an olive bulk after taking an oath in which he specifically forbids himself any amount is liable, one who eats less than an olive bulk without so specifying in his oath will also be liable, as that is included in his oath not to eat. That reasoning is not accepted. The Mishnah therefore states the dispute in the context of an oath that he will not eat in order to teach us that, according to the rabbis, as long as he did not specify that his oath includes any amount, he is exempt from receiving lashes. The Gemara presents the other side of the dilemma. Or perhaps, in general, Rabbi Akiva holds, like the rabbis, that one must consume at least an olive bulk in order to be liable for a prohibition that involves eating. And here, with regard to an oath that one will not eat, this is the reason he disagrees. Since one who specifically forbids himself any amount is liable, one who eats less than an olive bulk without so specifying in his oath will also be liable. Tashima, let us come in from the Rabbi Akiva. Hechem etzinu v'oichel kol shehu chayav, shezeh chayav. V'im yisrael lima lehu, ana b'chol haTorah kula k'Rabbi Shimon svira li. Come and hear that which the rabbis said to Rabbi Akiva. Where do we find that one who eats any amount is liable, leading you to say that this person is liable? The Gemara explains why this is relevant. If it is so that, according to Rabbi Akiva, one is always liable for eating any amount, let him say to them, in the entire Torah I hold in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. לדבריהם דרבנן קבע לו, ידידי בכל הדרך כולה כרבי שמעון סביר לי, לדידכו עודו לי מיהה, Hoil mufarish chayav stam nami chayav. Yamru le Rabbanan la. The Gemara answers the fact that Rabbi Akiva did not answer the rabbis in that way does not necessarily indicate that he does not agree with Rabbi Shimon in general. Perhaps he is speaking to the rabbis in accordance with their own statement, and this is how he would respond to their question. As far as my opinion is concerned, in the entire Torah, I hold that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon that one is liable for all prohibitions involving eating when one eats any amount. According to you, admit to me at least that since one who specifically forbids himself any amount is liable, one who eats less than an olive bulk without so specifying in his oath will also be liable. And the rabbi said to him, no, we will not admit that. Tashima, Rabbi Akiva Omer Nazir Shishara Pito Bayayin V'yesh ba kedei litzaref kezayit chayev V'yisol kedaita V'al mekar b'shimon zidaleh Lama li litzaref. The Gemara presents another attempt to resolve the dilemma. Coming here in Mishnah, Nazir 34b, Rabbi Akiva says a Nazirite who soaked his bread in wine and ate it, and the other two contain enough to combine to an olive bulk, he is liable, even though there is less than the minimal measure of wine. And if it should enter your mind that he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon in general, then why do I need the wine and bread to combine to the measure of an olive bulk? Consumption of any amount of wine should be sufficient for him to be liable. Back to where we were, back to where we were, back to where we were, back to where we were. Hey. Tashima, Rabbi Akiva Omer Nazir Shisharo. Okay, where were we? Took a little break, so I'm back here. Okay, Tashima, Rabbi Akiva Omer Nazir Shishara Pito B'Yayin. We said this, I'll say it again. V'yesh ba kedei litzarev kezayit chayav v'isol kedaitech be'alma Rabbi Shimon svirale lama li litzarev. The Gemara presents another attempt to resolve the dilemma. Come in here a Mishnah, Nazir 34b. Rabbi Akiva says a Nazirite who soaked his bread in wine and ate it, and the two together contained enough to combine to an olive bulk, is liable, even though there is less than the minimal measure of wine. If it should enter your mind that he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon in general, then why do I need the wine and bread to combine to the measure of an olive bulk? Consumption of any amount of wine should be sufficient for him to be liable. Ve'od tenan Shevuos shelo ochel be'achal nevelot u'trefot shkasim u'ramasim chayav ve'Rabbi Shimon poter ve'havinen ba amay chayav mushba mihar Sinai hu Rav u'Shmuel ve'Rabbi Yochanan d'amri tervayu b'cholel devarim ha'mutarin im devarim ha'asurin. And additionally, we learned that a Mishnah in 22b, if one says, on my oath I will not eat, and then ate the meat of unslaughtered carcasses or animals with a wound that will cause them to die within 12 months, trefot, or repugnant creatures or creeping animals, he is liable. And Rabbi Shimon deems him exempt. And we discussed it. Why is he liable for breaking his oath when he eats non-kosher food? He is already under oath from Mount Sinai not to eat forbidden food, and an oath cannot take effect to render a matter forbidden that is already forbidden. Rav and Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan both, being all, say that this is a case where he incorporates into the oath that he will not eat some permitted items, along with the statement concerning the forbidden items. Since the oath takes effect with regard to the permitted items, it extends also to the forbidden ones. Reish Lakish Amar אי אתה מוצא אלא אי במפרש חצי שיעור ואליבא דרבנן אי בסתם ואליבא דרבי עקיבא דאמר אדם אוסר עצמו בכל שהוא. And Reish Lakish says you find that one is liable for eating forbidden food as a result of an oath only if it is both an oath where he specifies that it includes a half measure, in this case less than an olive bulk, and in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis that one is not liable for eating a half measure unless it is specified in the oath, since eating a half measure is not prohibited by the Torah. The oath takes effect. Alternatively, you find that one is liable if he took the oath without specifying that the oath prohibits less than the usual measure, and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, one who says that, according to Rabbi Akiva, who says that a person renders himself prohibited from eating any amount by taking an oath not to eat. כרבי שמעון סביר עלי, כל שהוא נמי מושבע ועומד מהר סיני הוא. אלא לאו שמע מינא בעלמא כרבנן סביר עלי שמע מינא. And if it enters your mind that Rabbi Akiva holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon in general, I don't know, I thought that Rabbi Shimon was Rabbi Akiva's Talmud. So Rabbi Akiva's holding like his Talmud? I don't get that one. Okay. Anyway, this is difficult, as one who consumes any amount is also already under an oath from Mount Sinai. Why should the oath take effect according to Reish Lakish? Rather, must one not conclude from it in general? Rabbi Akiva holds like the rabbis, and it is only with regard to unspecified oaths that he deems one liable for eating any amount. The Gemara affirms, conclude from it, that Rabbi Akiva holds like the rabbis. Amru lo l'Rabbi Akiva hechem v'tzino kule v'la v'hare namala birya shani. The Mishnah teaches the rabbis. The rabbis said to Rabbi Akiva, where do we find that one who eats any amount is liable, leading you to say that this person is liable? The Gemara asks, and do we not? But isn't one who eats an ant liable, despite the fact that it is smaller than an olive bulk? The Gemara answers, a whole entity is different, since it has significance. The Gemara asks, but isn't one who eats less than an olive bulk of consecrated food liable? The Gemara answers, in order to be liable for eating consecrated food, we require a different measure, an amount worth 1 pruta. One is not liable for eating an amount worth less than that. The Gemara asks, but isn't one who specifies in his oath that he is prohibited from eating any amount liable for doing so? The Gemara answers, one who specifies that eating any amount is prohibited is indeed comparable to one who eats a whole entity, since he has granted its significance. The Gemara asks, but isn't there an unresolved question with regard to one who took an oath not to eat, and then a dirt? If, as the rabbis claim, one is not liable for eating less than a full measure, you could rather, I think we'll continue this question starting on the next daf, God willing.